Hello, beautiful beings, and welcome to another Galactic Mayan Astrology Report. So, this is a transmission for Friday, the 5th of May 2023, the 5-5 portal. So, the cosmic clock course is next level. Holy guacamole! 40 incredible souls journeying deep into the Galactic Mayan calendar. We're like past halfway now. I will be running it again, but what a gift this process is. Yum. So yeah, interesting times. How was the storm for you? Fucking took me right out and right in. But this is the beauty, the beauty of these archetypes, even when it is an initiation by fire. What a gift these initiations are, So we're transitioning into a new Wavespell process, and yeah, we've got the eclipse, we've got the lunar energies, we've got the 5-5 portal, we're really in the soup now. And the Wavespell that we begin on the 5th is the energy of the yellow human. So the yellow human archetype is what it is to be a human. But what is it to be a human? And this is really the inquiry of, what the yellow human is all about. What is it to be a human? So we have like the one aspect of it that's all about the shadow, that's all about the limitation, that's all about the challenge, that's all about the the beautiful, tragic, painful, phenomenal experience that it is to be an emotional being. So through the yellow human we really get to witness all of the incredible things that come with being part of the human family, being part of the ground crew here, in a very rooted sense. But then we also have the other side of the human, which is the multidimensionality of what it is to be a human. This aspect of ourselves that we're waking back up to now. This human that is alive in multiple realities, this human that is here as a cosmic ambassador, this human that is here literally creating reality through moulding matter with our conscious or unconscious intention. So to be a human is vast, and this 13-day process takes us on a journey to begin to kind of tease out these themes, to find our place within these themes, to check in with where we're at, and there's a beauty in the sorrow that comes from the tragedy of our experiences as humans. And I think when we look at our collective story, what's very clear for me anyway is the way that unprocessed emotion, unprocessed pain, just continues to create more pain. When someone's in pain and they can't sit with themselves in it, they project it outward, and that then creates pain for the other. But these creations of pain are magnets of old pain. It's like we bring the old pain out in one another. So there's always this opportunity through our emotionality to be able to let go of these old stories that our youngest selves experienced and therefore decided this is what the world is to me, and then subconsciously keep recreating in order to prove it. It's like we look for the proof, we create the proof, but the proof isn't actually the truth because it's not what we're wanting to be living, but it's what we keep recreating in the echo chamber. So there's this piece of like, what is our personal human story when it comes to the yellow human energy? Like, what is the story of your ancestral line? What is the story that is birthed through you, through the meeting of the two stories of your mother and father's stories? What does that then create through you? what have the building blocks of your personal life been? You know, what has your human story been? And what are you ready to reweave now? What are you ready to feel and let go of now? What are you writing? Because not only are we repeating, we're also writing, and maybe we're writing the same page over and over and over and over again. But if we could choose not to do that, what would you be writing? What would your human story be? And equally on a collective level, what is our collective human story? What is it? You know, what does it mean to be a part of the lineage of humanity? Is it something that feels in alignment with love? Are we stuck writing the same pages over and over again and exchanging terms, which is what I feel we've been doing for a long time? And it went from religion to science, you know, and even though the terminology is different, the energy underneath the different characters and the shaming and the blaming and the division and the polarity has been echoing through humanity for a long time, but a short time in terms of our true history. So what does it mean to be part of the human race? What is that? But then also, what's our relationship to being a human? How do we handle the limitation of being a human? How do we handle the weight of this dimension? How do we handle the pain that has not been processed by the collective? How does that pain manifest in us? What are our coping mechanisms? Where are we at within our ability to feel? Because the feeling is the everything. And sometimes the reaction to the feeling is to throw pain. Sometimes the reaction to the feeling is to dissociate from pain. But there's a sweet spot in the middle. And that sweet spot in the middle is where we then get to unravel and use those threads to rewrite a different story. So where are we at within our relationship with pain? Because it's only through the relationship with pain that we can have a relationship with love. So equally, what's our relationship like with love? How able do we feel? And this is something that I've noticed, you know, in the past few years for myself, of like, sometimes my coping mechanisms come in when I can't bear the amount of love that I'm feeling. You know, it's not just simply like the stemming of pain, and my astrological profile is such that I feel everything a lot. You know, I'm like a very deep fucking feeler. But yeah, just that recognition of like, fuck man, it's like sometimes when things feel too good, I then have to go into a coping mechanism to deal with that. So how can we allow ourselves to feel it all the way in and all the way through? But then we also have this multidimensional aspect. How open does our human vessel feel to the infinite, to the cosmic, to the things that are not actually held within the human consciousness and experience? How open are we to channel, to allow, to experience, to travel? And I think there is something really profound that's perhaps missing in the modern Western New Age spirituality. And that is that our bodies, you know, this is a divine feminine teaching, our bodies are the portal to the divine. Our bodies are not the thing that's in the way of the divine. Our bodies as humans are the portal. Being a human is not the thing that's in the way. And I think, you know, there's this really strong narrative around the human experience being this prison and our bodies being this prison, but I just don't believe it. I just refuse to believe it. You know, our bodies are fucking phenomenal. It's just that we don't know how to use them. We've forgotten the wisdom that they hold. We've tuned out of them. So what it is to be a human is so much more than we've been living for a long time on the planet. But there were times when we were living at closer to full capacity. And there's parts of us that remember that. So during these 13 days, you know, not only are we working with like the lower octave of what it is to be a human in terms of the incredible shadow transformation that can come through our stories and the stories that we've been telling on the planet for a long time. But it's also this amazing window of opportunity to connect with our multidimensional human selves, our light bodies, our experience of the cosmic. So the yellow human is a yellow sign, so it's this blossoming, it's this opening, it's this flowering. You know, we went through the storm, which is the blue transformation of like, you poured in the pot and you are going through the washing machine. And though there is an element of, you know, the descent to open, there's a journey within the yellow. And there's almost a softness. Sometimes we might not feel it as that, but there is almost a softness. So this is a really amazing opportunity for you to check in with the stories that you've been telling yourself, the stories that you were taught about who you can be, what we can be, how this world functions, what are the limitations around you that you were taught through family, through society, through culture. What are the stories that you have had to embody through your lineages? What are the new stories that you're trying to tell? What does your heart desire to tell as its story? What does your heart desire to weave as its future? What does your soul want to tell as its story? What does your soul want to weave as your future? There's like so many elements to what we are, and each aspect has a story to tell. And as humans, we've always been storytellers because that's how we create on the planet. You know, when we became the galactic human that this version of humanity is, we became the cosmic weavers of the story. And anything that tells us otherwise is an illusionary story, trying to lull us away from the truth, which is that we are creating it all. So there's so much to being a human, and the more that we begin to see that in ourselves and claim that for ourselves, the more that we can then meet that in one another. And the other piece of it is that, you know, we are a big family. And again, these like old ways of being that drew lines around land and cultures and created cages in one way or another, and all the ways that this pain that we've been in, this lack of power that we've felt within ourselves, we've then had to play that out with one another. And our human story can change and it can shift, but we have to reveal the old stories that we've been telling. We have to reveal the old roles that we've been playing within the game, so that then the door can open for a new role and a new story to come through. But the only way that anything is going to birth is through us. And the only way that anything different is going to birth is through our hearts. And our hearts don't exist in duality. This is really the seed of the moment. We're shifting out of duality, but that shift has to come through us as individual specks, as individual beings. The shift is a personal one that thus then becomes a collective one. You know, and to be free of dualities, not to feel that we need to go and tell somebody what story they should be telling. It's about us being able to tell our own story. And then we find the other people that are reading from the same book. And the more of us that are reading from the same book, the more other people look over and are like, that feels different. That feels like the thing that I've been looking for. Not because we're going up to them and saying, you've got the wrong book. They feel it. We feel it. We found ourselves here through hearing the story from that book from somewhere. So in these 13 days, we're going to be working with our stories, our personal stories, from our lineage, from our limitation, from our hearts, from our souls, and our collective stories, from the pain body of humanity to the multidimensional highest expression of humanity, and finding the way that we can unlock all that it is to be a human, so that we can really come back into the unlimited potentiality of love that we are. So I send you so much love. Enjoy, my loves, and ride well.